Omeganatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitanjana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we're having our Tuesday Q&A live Zoom meeting, and sounds like we have a question from Ati Sundari. Devi Das.
Yes, so I was kind of thinking about how consistently we speak about how Krishna is very playful in, I don't know, I guess how he shows up for us in general. And I was wondering how one can practice like that art of play and playfulness.
So you're saying that we hear that Krishna is very playful in his nature. And
Yeah.
how can we practice the art of play?
Yeah.
I see. Well, I would say it's a tricky question because there's a lot of scope here. There are many different directions in which we could take this question. And I would say overall, my answer would be that we are preparing for play. That we are at work. You could say we're kind of unlearning a lot of things. You know, we're unlearning a lot of things, and we're going through a stage of purification. That would be like kind of like my broad general answer. You know, like before we get, it's kind of like, think of it this way, like a ballerina who's training to become a great, you know, world-class dancer. The beginning part is going to be pretty tough, right? So like it's going to be very rigorous training, probably very strict diet, strict discipline, has to be up at a certain time, right? No, I know one lady, now she's a piano teacher, but she used to be she used to be like a, you know, professional pianist. And she said she had to practice for something like 8 hours a day, you know, like just to keep up, you know, and to, you know, keep her brain and her hands and everything, you know, on top of the piano and everything. Like it was like that, to really stay on top of things and stay in the level of competition, like 8 hours a day, you know. So, you know, you could say like someone like that, like the early part of their life, there's going to be a lot of this training and practice and discipline. But then at a certain, it also, you could say like learning a language, right? With anything new, there's going to beginning, it's going to be difficult. There's going to be some training and discipline involved. But once you learn and you know the rules, then you can free flow it, right? You may break the rules also. Then it will become something natural. It's like with cooking too. There are certain principles you have to learn, but once you've learned everything, you've been through the training, then it will be more natural. Then you can fly, right? Then you can fly. So you could say that we are in this stage of sadhana, right? Do you know, you're familiar with that word, sadhana?
No.
I'll put that in the chat. You can write that one down. So sadhana means regulated practicing life. And it also implies some type of struggle, because we're in many ways, we're like resisting our present acquired material nature, you know, because we're under the influence of the material energies, right? So we've talked about the modes of nature, right? Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Right? We're under the influence of our mind, the ego. There are all these external layers that are covering soul. And so to a large extent, we're fighting with ourselves, right? So sadhana means something of a fight. But I like one way that our Gurudev defined sadhana. He said, that which we don't want to do, we will do happily. Like, I don't want to wake up early in the morning. but I'm going to do it and I'm going to be happy about it and I'm going to feel good afterwards, right?
Mhm.
So that's one way in which I would answer your question. And then I can also say that we can apply this principle in one way in our practicing life now, and that is in trying to be flexible, we could say. And we could apply the concept of play to something that is living and dynamic, right? Like to not be too rigid in our conception of things, that, oh, it's this way or it's that way, or my life is supposed to be like this, but to be open to see which way does Krishna want us to go, right? Which way does Krishna want us to go? Which way is the current going, right? And I could say we could equate playfulness with a type of flexibility. And also, one thing about play, being playful, is that there's an absence of ego, I would say. There's an absence of ego. Like in the book Loving Search for the Lost Servant, there's one expression there, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, I like very much. And he's saying how sometimes in our service life we will be defeated and sometimes we'll be successful. And he said, but we can take it in a spirit of play. Just like if you're playing a game, right? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But you understand it's a game and you can be a little detached.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we may be used as the bad guy. Sometimes it may happen like that, you know. Sometimes we're the popular one and sometimes we're the unpopular one. We had in our service life at different times, we may have different roles to play, right? So I would say, we could also say having some element of detachment, that's also involved in playfulness, right? Playful. Say. I'm reminded of this one occasion, we heard this from Kumkum Didi. She's one of our senior lady devotees in America. This was one thing about Srila Govinda Maharaj, like even in very small things, and I'm sure Chinmoy Prabhu can say so much about this, like you would learn so much. This is how you can recognize a great soul. They're super conscious in every moment of their life. It's not just when they're, sitting in the chair and giving the talk, that you'll be impressed. But like for example, I remember one time with our Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, he was sitting at his desk and he had a pile of some holy books on his table in front of him. And he put his hands out and he straightened them out. It was like a split-second thing, but he did it like with so much consciousness and so much respect. And it came so deeply in my heart, like how much reverence he had for those books, like he was seeing them as deities. Just the simple way that he straightened those books out, it made such a deep impression upon me. This is the characteristic of the great soul. And these very small day-to-day things, we're learning so much from them. But Kumkum, she told me of this one incident. It was just before they were opening the ladies' ashram in San Jose. And there was one devotee who was arranging the altar. And she was particularly arranging the part where all the photos of the gurus are, the Guru Parampara. And there was something that she was doing there, which our Gurudev didn't like so much. And he was trying to tell her, oh, can you do it like this? I think he was telling her to put some cloth underneath or something. But she didn't understand. And she was second guessing him and saying, oh, don't worry, Gurudev, I got it. Just wait. And so he told her once and she wouldn't listen. Then he waited a couple of minutes and And then he tried to tell her again, and she did the same thing. Just wait, Gurudev, I understand, I've got it. And Kumkum, she was sitting next to our guru, and she was a little irritated, you know, like, what's this lady's problem? She's not listening. Her guru's trying to tell her something, and she's just assuming she understands, but she doesn't. And then our Gurudev, he just like kind of chuckled, and he withdrew from the situation, and he glanced at Kumkum. He said, "Oh, what can I do? You know, like, she doesn't want to listen. You know, what can I do?" And he just like smiled, chuckled about it, and Kumkum was, it really made a big impression on her, because she was feeling a little angry, like, oh, she won't listen to our guru. He's trying to tell her something. But when she saw like the absence of egotism that he had, and he was trying to help her, and he wanted the service to be done nicely. But then he saw she wasn't receptive, she wouldn't listen, and he wasn't going to force it. He didn't want to force anything, you know. He wanted there, if it was going to happen, he wanted it to be a natural flow, you know. He's not going to force his conception on someone else, right? And he took it in that playful spirit, chuckling about it. Oh, what can I do? You know, and it made such a deeper, because Kumkum thought, if that was me in that position, then I would go and like try and spell it out to her in black and white. This is how we're going to do it. Right? Do you understand me? Do I need to write it down for you? But he wasn't fixed upon the result, actually. Like, for him, it was an exchange, right? He never, for him, it wasn't so much about the objective reality, right? But it was about the flow that was taking place, right? The conscious exchange, the heart exchange, right? The consciousness that was behind. He wasn't looking for some, like for example, what I really appreciated so much about Srila Govinda Maharaj, and which we don't always see, is that he didn't judge so much by the results, but rather by the intention. He was looking at the heart. And that was something I think many of us felt very clearly in him, that he would treat you on the basis of what was in your heart, you know, not on what you had achieved on a physical level. But he was looking at the consciousness, and he was reciprocating with you according to what was in your heart and what was your intention. It wasn't about results. It wasn't performance-based management, you know, but heart-based. Like he was looking so deeply into the heart. So yeah, I mean, I'm going back to the topic of applying this concept of play. You know, I could say like that, trying to see where is the flow moving, not forcing ourselves upon anything, and also being ready to take on different roles and different duties that may come up at different times, with some spirit of detachment, right? Flexibility, you know, flexibility, having some spirit of flexibility. I would also associate that with playfulness. What do you think, Ati Sundari? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that resonated with me. It was exactly what I needed to hear. I tend to be very like structured, and I caught myself recently how serious I've been with my whole life, not even just one aspect of one moment. And so just recently I was kind of reflecting on myself, really just kind of meditating on certain things, and I was like, I don't know how to, sometimes I don't know how to play, sometimes I don't know how to just like allow things to be, you know. And I'm always like, okay, once this happens, then this is the next step, and then this is the process, and then I have to like present myself in this way, and you know, be professional all the time, and it's just overwhelming and exhausting, to be honest. So that was very nice to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, hearing what you say, I'm reminded also of something Breja Mohini Didi. You know Breja Mohini. She shared something with me too. Her how she felt like Gurudev didn't like us to take ourselves too seriously. You know, like obviously we need to be serious, but about the right thing. And there's a tendency to be very fixed on being serious about things that are actually superficial, you know.
Yeah.
Things that are external. And and so yeah, our Gurudev, he had this playfulness about him. And he would kind of like try and break up your stereotypes, you know, shake things up a little bit, you know, not to be too rigid in your external conception of things. And he would do very, you know, he could make jokes, and he would do many, you know, many unexpected things, you know. He, you know, like just one little example comes to mind. Udamanyu Prabhu told me it was one of like, it was during the first world tour, I believe, or maybe it's technically classified as the second, but no, I think it's the first, when he first went to USA, and he had some big public talk in I think it was like a university, or it was some big public talk, and it was a big auditorium, and he's walking up to the stage, and our Gurudev, all of a sudden he started walking like with these duck feet. He did this funny little like Donald Duck walk with his feet like this, and of course not everybody saw it, you know. And Udamanyu also said that like you always had to be alert, like he would always be doing these unexpected things, and sometimes he'd make very funny faces, and he would imitate people too, imitate people's expressions. And but yeah, Udamanyu was saying how yeah, just how like he liked to break people's stereotypes, you know, like get away from this like Acharya, Indian Acharya coming from West Bengal, and the Rupanuga Sampradaya Acharya. Like you have these conceptions of what it's supposed to be, you know. But with Gurudev, if anything, I feel like sometimes he would deliberately do things so that people who were superficial would be turned away. Like he set up a filter system, you know, like only if you really had an eye for what was substantial, you know, you could recognize, oh, there's substance here. There's substance here. And he didn't care if people would be thrown off, you know. So yeah, he had a wonderful playfulness about him. Yeah, he really didn't even, I think I might have mentioned this not too long ago, but my mother shared, and she's told me this story a few times, but she shared recently this one detail which she hadn't shared before. It was when she first met Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and this is 1981, and she was telling like this very difficult situation that had gone on in the temple. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj was like very sober, very serious, but our Gurudev, he kind of had this air like there was a drama going on, like there was some exciting drama going on, you know, like you know, like you're watching a movie and there's some adventure, and it's a little scary, but it's also kind of thrilling, right? And so it really struck her because they were together, like listening to her, and like the difference in their response, it was very, very marked, you know. So it actually, it helps in some detachment. It helps this playful. It's actually a very interesting topic you brought up. It helps in having some detachment, like being an observer, right? It's like for example, we may think of different situations we've gone through in our life, and it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. It's the end of the world. But then think about like if you watch that in a film, you know, like, oh, it would be a very interesting film, it would be a very enjoyable film. You know, the hero has to go through all these troubles. You know, we don't need to become so emotionally involved, right, in every situation, but we can keep some aspect as an observer, right? Try to like zoom out and see this from the perspective that, you know, I've been through 10 million lifetimes and I've got another 10 million to go through. And this is just one stop on the way, right? Some perspective like that, like why is it the end of the world, right? Because this didn't happen the way that I had planned, right? This is just one small little point in my reality. In my reality, what to speak of the sum total of reality, right? Welcome Krishnendrani, and Lynn, and Julian, and Ramananda Prabhu, Scarlett, Gita 108.
Dandavat Vishaka Didi, Dandavat Sorry.
Chinmoy Prabhu, do you want to share any comments on that topic?
We just always think that Krishna moves in a zigzag way. So we have to flow with that. Wherever the transcendental flow is going, we want to go that way. That is a kind of play, which involves us being egoless.
That's beautiful. That just sums it all up. One perfect sentence. Yeah, actually, just now we also have Purnamasi Didi here. But Purnamasi Didi, would you please come say hello to our Zoom group? So Purnamasi is super special devotee from Mauritius, right dear to our Gurudev. She hosted our Gurudev when he went to Mauritius, and has a very deep heart for our Gurudev and his mission. But we were actually just discussing this point, actually the zigzag line of the truth, right? This is also part of the play, right? And we have to keep that vision to try to detect where is the current flowing, right? Where is the real current flowing? Where is Krishna's will flowing? And as Chinmoy Prabhu said so nicely, that requires an absence of ego. Absence of ego. Anything you want to share with our group, Didi?
I don't know. I'm just happy to meet all the devotees. Very, very pleased. Very sincere seekers. I need all your blessings to follow in Gurudev's life until our last time. That's all.
Jai.
Dandavat.
Well, any other comments, questions from our group? Expect the unexpected, Marie says. Very nice.
Well, I have another question.
Okay, wonderful.
I was wondering why we chant the Bhajpa Tattva Mahamantra before we do japa. I heard slightly at the temple here in Salt Lake City, they slightly mentioned something about it being cleansing before we chant. So
Sorry,
I was just wondering.
what was that sentence just before?
Oh, at the temple, they were discussing a little bit about it. They just briefly, they mentioned something about having it be cleansing. And so I wanted to know more about it.
Well, that is a very important point. That actually we understand from our gurus and from the scriptures that we cannot directly approach Radha and Krishna. Of course we can, but you could say the percentage or the voltage of that connection will be very small compared to what voltage we can receive going through the channel of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. Why? Because I'm going to write this down in our chat. Madhurya and Audarya. Now, these are two moods. Actually, there's a third mood, Aishwarya. These are three moods with which the divinity can express itself. And Aishwarya means a mood of opulence, awe, reverence, majesty. Aishwarya is the mood of Lord Vishnu. You know, it is, you could say Aishwarya means God. God as you would expect it. God on the throne. God with the signboard outside the door that says God. God in the office. Right? That's the Aishwarya mood. Very impressive and grand. Right? That is Lord Vishnu Narayan. Then Madhurya means sweetness. And Madhurya refers to the mood of Krishna's pastimes and Krishna's play. It is full in sweetness. And then Audarya means generosity. Audarya means mercy. Audarya means distribution. So the Leela of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is characterized by this spirit of Audarya. So Mahaprabhu comes in this world with two purposes. One, his internal private purpose, that is Krishna wanting to taste the heart of Radha. But then he also has his public purpose, which is to distribute the holy name, to give Krishna. So the whole purpose of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming to this world is to give Krishna. So Mahaprabhu is the door by which we can have entrance into Krishna Leela. He's Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they are chasing after people to give them Krishna. And by their mercy, we can have genuine, deep, authentic connection with Radha and Krishna. And they are also the givers of the holy name in this world. When Mahaprabhu came to this world, he traveled all over India widely, distributing this Maha Mantra. Actually, the Maha Mantra, it is kind of like traditionally in the Vedic culture, these Sanskrit mantras, they were not accessible to the general public. They were like the privilege of the upper class Brahmana, scholarly section, like an elite group. And there was also some taboo, there was some prejudice around handing out these mantras freely, and people had different ideas. Some people had the idea that if more people are chanting it, then it will lose some of its potency, right? And so there were different reasons why this Maha Mantra was not available to the general public. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, they broke these taboos and they very mercifully widely distributed this Maha Mantra. So it is really by their grace that we've been, now we take it for granted, but it is really by their grace that we've been given this opportunity, to chant this Maha Mantra. This is also revealed to be the Yuga Dharma, which means the prescribed religion for this age. And so it is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who, as the Yuga avatar, the avatar for this age, fulfilled that Yuga Dharma, spread that Yuga Dharma, made that clear to everyone, gave everyone that opportunity. So for different reasons, right? But primarily, you could say, that Mahaprabhu, he is the embodiment of mercy. Krishna is enjoying within his own group. To some extent, the Vrindavan Leela, it is like a closed program by invitation only. But in Gaura Leela and Chaitanya's Leela, they're chasing after people. And we hear Nityananda Prabhu, he's rolling at people's feet, begging them, please, please, please take this. with no shame. He's begging people shamelessly, please accept Mahaprabhu. You know, please accept Krishna. We hear one prayer one expression he would make, Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Laha Gaurangir Nam, Ye Jan Gaurangir Bhaje, say Hoy Amar Pran. Take the name of Gauranga, you know, worship Gauranga, love Gauranga. Whoever does so, they will be my life and soul. This is Nityananda Prabhu. So they are coming with this extreme mood of mercy and love. Mercy and love and compassion. Mahaprabhu is coming. Why? Because Mahaprabhu is Krishna under the influence of Radharani. And it is actually Radha who has this mood of generosity, compassion. Right? So Mahaprabhu is coming with this intense mood of compassion and love and desire to help the souls of this world. He's coming for that purpose. And so it is natural that before we chant the Mahamantra, first we will pray to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, you know, pray for their mercy, right? Invite their grace. And by their grace, we can hope to have connection with the genuine holy name. It is also said that in the chanting of Krishna's name, there's consideration of offenses, right? That it is not so easy to chant that name, right? Our heart must be clean. But the mood of Nityananda and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very merciful. There's one statement of Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying that it is very difficult to chant the name of Krishna. But if we take the name of Nitai Chaitanya, then divine love, prema, will come searching after us. It's something like this. So they have a mood of great mercy and inviting their mercy into our chanting, into our hearts, then we can have some hope to have connection with Krishna. There's Srila Sridhar Maharaj made many comments on this subject. There was one comment he made, I think he mentioned to several persons, but one was Janardhan Maharaj, and he told him, it is like you put your coin into a ticket machine. You put your coin in one part and then the ticket comes out the other part. And so he said, similarly, we make our investment in Navadvip, in Gaura Leela, and we will get our return in Krishna Leela, right? And it is mentioned, it happens automatically, that if we are giving ourselves in surrender to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, automatically we're getting some connection with Krishna Leela. And there's one very beautiful verse by one of Mahaprabhu's associates, Prabodhananda Saraswati. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj loved this verse so much, and he quoted so much, Yata yata gaur padara vinde vindeta bhaktim krita punyarasi tatata tot sarpita hridya kasma dadha parambuja sadambu lasi. It's saying that as much as we will give ourselves to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to the Leela, to the associates of Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, so much we will automatically find flowing within our heart the nectarian, the nectar of divine service to Srimati Radharani. One thing that Saraswati Thakur used to say was, if we are watering the roots, then the fruits will automatically come. And that, then this brings us to another point. That the Leela of Radha and Krishna is a little difficult for us to comprehend. The Vrindavan Leela is not comprehensible to us at this time. Why? Because it is related to Madhura Rasa. Madhura Rasa is referring to the amorous, the lover relationship, right? Radha and Krishna, they have the relationship of lovers. But that is difficult for us to understand from our mundane position, right? We don't understand what is that expression of you know, that lover's relationship in Vrindavan, because we don't have any comparison. So it is a little dangerous for us to go too deep into those things, because our minds will pollute it and mix it with our worldly experience, right? We cannot understand Krishna's relationship with the gopis, with his girlfriends in Vrindavan. So it is a subject that we don't go too deep into at present. However, in Gaura Lila, the focus is on Sankirtan, right? We can also say in this way, there's union and there's separation from Krishna. And the separation side is safer for us. And so in Gaura Lila, there is, you know, Mahaprabhu is showing that mood of separation from Krishna. And also all the emphasis is on the holy name. So that is also safer for us in our current position. Mahaprabhu was a sannyasi, right? Mahaprabhu was a monk. He lived a very renounced life. So that's something that we can appreciate from our worldly position right now. Oh, okay, he's detached from the world. I can understand that. We're trying to become free from mundane attachment. Okay, that makes sense. But then if you look at Krishna, Krishna is an enjoyer. Krishna has millions, billions of girlfriends. And Krishna likes to enjoy so many different things and so many different foods. And Krishna likes to lie. Krishna likes to cheat. So Krishna is not a very good example for us. Right? It can be very confusing. If you look too closely at Krishna Lila without the proper understanding and proper vision, it can be confusing. We can't imitate Krishna. We can't follow Krishna's example. And Krishna's life, it is, in many ways, it looks like some ordinary, not just ordinary, but a moral man in this world, right? Person of low morals in this world. So it can be very difficult to understand Krishna. So from that perspective also, it is very helpful. It is more helpful to focus more on the life of Mahaprabhu. That's more easy and straightforward for us to emulate, right? That we're trying to move away. Of course, we don't all have to become sannyasis and so forth, but we're trying to minimize our mundane enjoyment. And then if you ask me, oh, well, then how do we understand why Krishna lives like that? Then we can also write some more words in our chat here. And for Ati Sundri's notebook. A Prakrita and Prakrita. These are two, I don't know if we've talked about these before, but these are two very important words. The word Prakrita means what is mundane, what is material. And then Aprakrita means what is not mundane, what is supramundane, you could say. However, the implication is also there that it may appear to be mundane. So this is the thing, Krishna's Leela, Krishna's divine pastimes, they are mirroring, it's like a mirror to human life. It looks the same in many ways, but the platform is different. Why? Because in this world, it's all based on enjoyment of the senses. It's based on exploitation, and it's based on the illusory conception of ourselves as being the enjoyer. But here's the thing, Krishna actually is the enjoyer. Krishna is actually constitutionally equipped to be the enjoyer, but we are not. Right? Krishna is Purusha. Purusha means, enjoyer, the male spirit. That is Krishna, but we are Prakriti, we are energy, we are to be enjoyed. So constitutionally, we are not equipped. And we can also experience all the time our frustration because we cannot enjoy as much as we would like. It's very frustrating. Today we went into Budapest with our friends here, and we had some ice cream, and I had 2 scoops of ice cream, and I was so frustrated because I wanted to have more. But I knew my body could not handle it. I felt so frustrated, my senses and my mind and my tongue. I wanted to have at least minimum 2 more scoops of ice cream. But I was very frustrated because my body cannot handle it, you know. I'm not equipped to enjoy. But Krishna is constitutionally equipped to enjoy unlimitedly. Krishna could enjoy billions and billions and billions of ice cream scoops. And still be able to have more. So right, we have to admit, right, we're limited in the sphere of enjoyment. We're not very good at enjoying. We may as well just give it up. We may as well just find our real enjoyment in supplying enjoyment to Krishna. Right? That's the clue. That's where our real enjoyment comes. That's constitutionally our real satisfaction, where it comes from, in giving and providing enjoyment to Krishna. But now we're in this viparya smriti, as mentioned in Bhagavatam, this like topsy-turvy, upside down consciousness, where we are identifying ourselves to be enjoyers. But it doesn't work because it's not in our DNA. We are to be enjoyed. That's where we find our enjoyment. So that's the challenge. So that's the thing, right? This is why Krishna's Leela is very confusing, because it's the human life, human experience is like it's described sometimes as a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So it looks the same, but it's not in many ways. And the whole foundation of Krishna's activity is on the spirit of dedication, the spirit of giving, the spirit of love, not external enjoyment of the senses and exploitation of others. So it is a very tricky thing, and not everyone can understand. And so this is another reason why in our current stage it is more helpful to put more emphasis on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we see, did you understand the word Leela? I'm not sure how familiar you are with all these words, Ati Sanju.
No,
Okay.
I do not.
Yeah, so Leela, this is a very important word. Leela, there are many words in Sanskrit which you cannot, translate perfectly. But Leela means like play. Oh, that was the topic that you brought up in the beginning, full circle. So Leela means but divine play. And we usually translate it as pastimes, but that's kind of an old-fashioned word nowadays. I don't know if people really use that, pastime. So it means like, because the thing is, whatever Krishna does, he does out of play, because it's like you could say like a drama. It's not like absolute, it's not like what he needs to do. He does it because he wants to do it. Things that happen in Krishna's Leela and Krishna's play, they happen for his satisfaction, right? So it is like a play. So yeah, I'm probably not explaining very well right now. But well, now I forgot the main thread of what I was saying. Do you remember, Ash? I don't know what I was saying.
One of the essence was how we should embody more Mahaprabhu.
Oh yeah,
Chaitanya.
this is what I wanted to say. About Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Do you know who Bhaktivinoda Thakur is?
Yeah.
He's on our altar. He's he has a beard on, and he's dressed as a magistrate. He's the father of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also. But he also had his own Leela. This is another way that we use the word. that in our life, like things happen according to our karma, but in the life of a great soul, they don't have karma, but things are happening by lila. We could also say lila means what is the higher will, what is the show, what is the play. So in the lila of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in the life of Bhaktivinoda Thakur in this world, he showed that how he came to Mahaprabhu. He was in his youth, right? He was looking into different religious and spiritual conceptions. He had like a journey to come to Mahaprabhu, and that is also part of his lila, right? Because actually he's eternally a devotee of Mahaprabhu, but this was the play, right? That he showed apparently that he came to discover, right? That Mahaprabhu was supreme. So at a certain point, he came to this conclusion that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the supreme Lord. No, but he was puzzled on this point. Okay, Marie has a nice comment here in the chat on this concept of Leela. So he came to accept, oh, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is supreme. But at this point he struggled with, why is and oh yeah, and I also wanted to ask you all these different names for Mahaprabhu. You're familiar now? Gauranga, Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya. It gets a little confusing. Lots of different names.
Yeah.
Okay, well done. So yeah, so he was puzzled on this point. Like Mahaprabhu, I can get Mahaprabhu, but why does Mahaprabhu worship Krishna as the supreme deity? It doesn't make sense. Like Krishna's a womanizer, Krishna's an enjoyer. What did Krishna ever do? But then he came to this conclusion. He said, oh, and then look at Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was a very strict monk, sannyasi. Mahaprabhu wouldn't even look at a woman. He would sleep on like a bamboo sheet or a very, very simple mat. Like if people tried to give him like some, for example, sandalwood oil once, someone tried to give him, and he wouldn't accept it. He lived very austere, simple life of a sannyasi. And so Bhaktivinoda is trying to square these things up, and it doesn't make sense. And then he came to this conclusion. Oh, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is non-different from Krishna. Mahaprabhu is Krishna. And by his own life, he's demonstrating the purity of Krishna's Leela, of Krishna's divine play, right? Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he lives as a sannyasi in this world, but he's worshiping Krishna, who's apparently this big enjoyer. So that tells you that Krishna's enjoyment is not mundane enjoyment. It's happening on a spiritual platform. It is categorically different. And going back to this concept of Leela, there's one quote. There's a writer. I think he's actually Irish. I tend to say he's English, but I think he's actually Irish. Probably someone in our chat will know for sure. But Oscar Wilde, famous writer. I like something that he wrote. I think it was like in the introduction to one of his books. He said, all art is quite useless. All art is quite useless. And it's a statement that can just throw you off, right? He himself is an artist of sorts, right? As a writer and a playwright. Right? So what he's actually saying is that, poetry, okay, Ash is confirming, Irish, thank you. Poetry, art, music, these are all things that are useless in a sense. They don't fulfill any practical purpose in this world. However, they are fulfilling a higher purpose. They don't have a purpose of utility. in this world. You know, it's like, for example, you work hard to pay the bills, right? That's one level of existence. But there are so many things beyond that, finer and higher in that, right? You know, so many ideas, so many expressions of beauty, right? It's like, so this is Leela. Leela is unnecessary, right? But it's fulfilling a higher purpose. It's fulfilling the will of Krishna, the play of Krishna. It is exploring a finer world beyond beyond the world of utility and practical necessity. This is Leela. And so Krishna, he's actually delegating, like, you know, we have a concept of God, right, as the creator and our great father who takes care of us and so on. And that's very nice, of course, but like, hang on, doesn't he get a break? Like, doesn't he get to have fun? Like, what about his private life? You know, so that's where Krishna comes in. That's Krishna when he's at home, you know, with his beloved friends and being himself and out of the office, right? So that's what Leela is. When Krishna's, when the Supreme Lord, when God is simply, you know, exploring a world of love and play and beauty, these finer things, and he's delegating all the practical things like creation and all this basic stuff, right? Anyway, there's a lot more that could be said on that topic, but we will stop there for now. But your original question was about the Panchatattva, chanting the Panchatattva. Yeah, you know, we are inviting their mercy and asking their permission also, you could say, before we take the Maha Mantra. I heard that Srila Sridhar Maharaj, sometimes he would say, I think maybe it's even published in one of our books, that we will bow down to them, like mentally, or you could say like a heart expression of bowing to them before we take the Maha Mantra. So we are honoring them, remembering them, inviting their grace, asking their permission. And they're also helping us to clear our offenses, right, in chanting the Maha Mantra. And welcome, we had Axel join us, and Suyash Prabhu's here. Suyash Prabhu, we were just talking about you, and Purnamasi Didi's here, and we were looking forward to seeing you, Mauritius. Dandavad, Suyash Prabhu. Well, any other comments, questions? Maybe Chinmoy Prabhu has some reflections also. There had lots of topics that came up.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Suyash Prabhu, what is your son, right? Your son. Yeah. What is your son's name again? Purnamasi, you want to say hello? Suyash Prabhu is here.
Haribol, Haribol,
Haribol. Tuanya.
Haribol, Didi, Haribol.
Haribol. Correct lah?
Correct, correct.
Ah.
Yes, correct, correct.
Partha correct lah?
Parthada.
Partha.
Yes.
Artadas. Okay, very
Okay.
nice name.
Vegete bien? Correct.
Huh? There was kirtan just now, and we just came from that, so that's why the dress.
Okay, very nice. And so you must have had some Rath Yatra celebration there.
Rath Yatra is from ISKCON. We had a few.
Okay.
On the day itself, on Saturday, there was Rath Yatra organized by ISKCON.
Okay.
As from our side, we had Gundicha Mardan.
Okay.
At the temple, we yeah.
Well, if we do Gandicha Marjan, then that's the main thing, right? we're cleaning the temple of
Yeah.
the heart. We're cleaning the temple of the heart,
Yeah.
and we are inviting the Lord. Yeah, so we just had Rath Yatra actually. That's also a topic to be discussed. And the day before Rath Yatra is Gundicha Marjan, where we're cleaning our temples, and we're also primarily cleaning the temple of our heart and inviting the Lord to appear there with all his mercy. Okay, well, I think I'll end here. I think it is good to end on time. I know you all have other things to do. And also Dana, happy to see Dana with us. Thank you all for your giving me your good association, keeping me in connection. Seva, that is our lifeline to lotus feet of Guru and Gauranga. All right. Well, thank you, Ati Sundari, for hosting. Thank you, Chinmoy Prabhu, for all of your insightful comments, as always. And thank you all for your auspicious presence and participation. Jai Shlavati Sundar Gurudev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Shlavati Raksha Shivadev Ki Jai, all the assembled devotees, Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan
Jai.
Jai, Jai Gaur Prem. Haribol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much for today.
Jai Vishaka Devidasi ki.
Right.
Jai.
Jai.